In order to make this cute little cactus, you're going to need a green yarn. It doesn't really matter what color you choose, just any color that is in the family of green. You're going to want your flower color. I'm using a bright blue because it contrasts really nicely with my green. Some black, this is crochet thread, or you can use embroidery floss, something along those lines. It's nice and thin so you can put the face on. Some tan or yellow for the base, the part that goes into the pot, the dirt part of your cactus. A stitch marker, which I always just use a contrasting piece of yarn. A hot pink, light pink. You want pink. If you want to put the cheeks on it, you don't need anywhere near this much. This is just what I had. You need about this much. And scissors. You're going to want scissors, a crochet hook in the size that works for you. Again, you are a beginner, so you may need a larger hook to be able to see and do the stitches. Normally, look at your yarn label, see what size it recommends, and then go down two for amigurumi because it helps you keep your stitches nice and tight. You need a large eye needle for sewing on. There's not a lot of sewing in this. Don't stress out. It's a nice short beginner's pattern. And if you want a little terracotta pot, I would recommend waiting to get your pot until after you make it in case you have a larger gauge than I do. I tend to crochet very tight, so my stuff is smaller. And if you don't need a larger pot, it's totally fine. I actually went to the store with my created cactus and dropped it into pots until I found one that fit, if that tells you anything. The one final thing you need, and I'm not going to put a bunch of it up on the table, is some polyfiberfill. We are not going too crazy with this polyfiberfill, but we do need to stuff the bottom and the top. And then the pattern, you should have this available. You can either get the pattern, uh, they should have this available as a PDF for you. If you have any questions, just email me at drunkenauntwendy@gmail.com and I can always try to help you out. But you can follow along with me in the video without looking at the pattern. But I feel like sometimes the pattern is a good way to go so you can basically keep track of where you are. So, what we're going to do first is we're going to start with the base, which I am doing it in this light tan color. And we're going to go pretty slow because this is a beginner class. If you already know how to crochet, you can move along quicker. If you don't, um, just watch closely and we're going to go as slow as possible without being too tedious. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is grab your yarn and you're going to make a slip knot. So I go over my finger and cross it, and then I pull the yarn up through an opening like this. And I know this is quite complicated. Honestly, when I teach classes, the slip knot is practically the hardest thing to get everybody to do. Okay. And I pull it up tight, not too tight. I need room. Okay. So now we're going to do a chain stitch. So you take your yarn over your hook, turn your hook and pull it through. And then you're going to do that one more time for a chain two. And this is how I start all my circular things. There is another method, but I think this is really the best one for beginners. Now, if you look at your chain, you have this side that looks like a V, and then the other side with like little bumps, okay? So what we're going to do is 6 single crochet in this second chain from the hook. So we're going to take our hook, put it through that little bump, take the yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, let's do that again. Put it through, yarn over, pull through 2. Put it through, yarn over, pull through 2. I have a tendency to twist this back and forth to make it easier for me, but it is a system where you have to kind of work with the needle and figure out what to do. So you want to have good tension, but not so tight that everything you can't get the hook in. And you need to be relaxed enough to be able to do this. It takes some practice. Okay. Hook in, pull up a string, yarn over, pull up two, pull through two. Okay. So right now we have 4 stitches in there. We're going to do 2 more. Pull up, over, pull through 2, pull up, over, pull through 2. So now you have your beginning with your 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I take this part right here. I'm going to pull it tight, just kind of close up this hole that might be there. Okay. Now we're going to move on. That was round 1 of the base. So now let's move on to round 2 of the base, which is going to be an increase in each stitch. Okay, so an increase is 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. Now we've gone past the first row, so the next time we're going to go through both of those V's, pull up, over, pull through. Now go right back into that same stitch. Do it again. Pull up, over, pull through. Okay, let's do that a couple more times. Through, pull up, over, pull through, up. Okay, and now we have the 4 stitches. Okay, so we're going to keep doing 2 stitches in each stitch 4 more times. So this is 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, and 6, 2. Now, if I'm going too slow, feel free to fast forward. If I'm going too fast, feel free to pause. Okay, so now what we're going to do is count our stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so we have completed round 2. And now I am going to grab my stitch marker. This is so you don't have to count and you know when you get back to the beginning of the round. You can use the plastic fancy ones, or you can be cheap like me and just use a spare piece of yarn that's a different color. Now we're moving on to round 3, which is a single crochet and then an increase, and you repeat that 6 times. So you're going to do a single crochet, which is what we've been doing. So put your hook in through 2, pull up yarn, wrap it over, pull through both. Okay, and now the next stitch, we're going to do an increase, which is 2 single crochet. So pull and pull. Okay, now we're going to repeat that sequence 5 more times. So you're going to do a single crochet and then an increase and then a single crochet and then an increase, single crochet and then an increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase. Okay, so that's nice, simple, and that's how we make circles. Um, Depending on your yarn, this yarn I like to increase by 6s to make a circle. So the next round, we're going to go to round 4 if you're looking at your paper pattern. This is going to change things up just a little bit, and that's to move the increases around just a touch so you don't get a seam. So we're going to single crochet, and then we're going to increase, and then we're going to single crochet. Now we're going to repeat that sequence 5 more times. So it's a single crochet, increase, single crochet. So let's do it together. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, single crochet, increase, single crochet, single crochet, increase, single crochet, single crochet, increase, single crochet. Okay, and then here's the last time. We know that because there's 3 stitches left. So single crochet, increase, single crochet. Okay, that is the end of round 4. We should start be getting a good feel for single crochet stitches. If you're having trouble with how you like to hold your yarn, there are various holds. There's like one that goes around like this and like this. I do this, but if you can't keep the yarn tight enough, you can wrap it around your pinky and then this. There's other holds for the crochet hook. You can hold it like this. Feel with it, play with it, kind of feel what works best for you. There's no right way or wrong way as long as you're doing it, is what I want to say. I feel like people get too stressed out. I'm not doing it exactly like the person in the video. Who cares? If you're doing it and you found a way that works for you, then keep doing it. All right, round 5 is 3 single crochet and then an increase. So we're going to do a single crochet and then a second one and then a third one. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do an increase, just 2 in the same stitch. Okay, so that is the sequence. You're going to repeat that around 5 more times. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, sometimes your stitches don't want to work. There we go. 3, and then an increase. Okay, so now what I'm going to have you do is keep doing that on your own, and we'll meet back when we get back here to the stitch marker. Okay, so you have finished round 5. You're following along with the printed pattern. We are going to go on to round 6. So I pull out my stitch marker, I move it up to the next round. And for round 6, it is 2 single crochet, increase, 2 single crochet. So let's do it together. 1 and then 2. Excuse me. And then an increase. And then 1, 2. Okay. So what we're going to do next is repeat that around 5 more times. Okay. So 1, 2, increase, and then 1, 2. All right, repeat that around 4 more times and we'll meet back here. All right, so then you finished round 6. So basically, when you're making a circle in crochet, all you have to do is increase by 6 each time, and then it can get as big as you would like. I have done some that are huge, and I have done some that are small. So what we're going to do now is we're going to crochet a single crochet row around in the back loops only. So what we've got here, and I'm going to grab a needle so I can show you. We've got these 2 stitches, that V that we've been talking about. Okay, so this is the front loop because it is closest to me. This is the back loop because it is furthest away from me. We're going to do this next round in these back loops, and I do this as a design choice so that it folds, and now your project will fold down where the back loop onlys are. Okay, so you're going to do a whole single crochet row in the back loops only. So we're going to go in that back loop, and it's the same motion and it's the same stitch, but it's just in that back loop. We'll get some done here and we'll show you the little ridge that forms. Okay, so see, there's this little ridge that forms right here, and it's really easy to fold this down. Sometimes you come back in and you crochet on these unused loops. We're not going to do that in this method or in this pattern, but if you advance into other crochet projects, you can. So continue around in the back loops only. Okay, so we're coming up on our stitch marker, and you can also tell where the front loops are sticking out. So you don't want to go any further past that with this back loop only. Okay, so we just finished round 7. I'm moving the stitch marker up, and now we're going to move on to round 8, and 8 has decreases. So let's go over how to do a decrease. Very similar. All of the stitches in this are based off of a single crochet, so we don't have to do a whole lot. Okay, so stick your hook through the next stitch, pull up a piece of yarn, then go to the next stitch and pull up a piece of yarn. So now you have 3. Go over and pull through them all. And that is single crocheting 2 together. So we're going to do the decrease, and then we're going to do 4 single crochets. Do those normal. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now we're back to decreasing again. So let's do it again. In the next stitch here, put your hook through, pull up, then go to the next one, pull up, over, pull through 3, and then 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you can see right here, that's the 2 single crochets together. This is how you do your shaping. You either increase or you decrease for basic crochet patterns. So we're up to another decrease. Go in through the first one, and then the next one, wrap over, pull through 2. 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's do it again. Decrease, and then 4 single crochet. Okay, decrease, 4 single crochet. All right, and now we're going to decrease for the last time in this round. Decrease, 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so it's already folding. It's starting to get smaller, and it'll fit right into our pot. Now, I made this one a little bit bigger than the pot so it sticks up because I'll pull this over here. I like it to stick up. If you didn't want it this big, or just get a bigger pot. Let's say get a bigger pot before we start adjusting patterns. It's easy to do, but I don't want to get anybody confused just yet. All right, so that was round 8. So let's move on to round 9, which is decrease, decrease. 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. And that is done 5 more times. So let's do one together. Decrease, and then 3 single crochet. 1, oops, 2, 3. Okay, now let's keep going around and we'll meet back at the stitch marker. Okay, so you just finished round 9. We've got 3 more rounds to go, and then we're done with the base. So that's why this is a nice quick project. It's only 3 pieces. We can sew the face on and sew everything inside. It's going to be a quick, easy, and you can have something accomplished, which is always fun. So now let's move on to round 10, which is a decrease, 2 single crochet 6 times. So let's decrease, decrease, 2 single crochet. 1 and 2. Now let's do that again 5 more times. We'll do one together. Decrease, 2 single crochet. Okay, decrease, 2 single crochet. Decrease. I keep saying them. You can do them on your own. You don't have to listen to me. 2 single crochet. Okay, now we are moving on to round 11. Round 11, again, we're going to decrease by 6. So you're going to do a decrease and then a single crochet 6 times. So decrease, single crochet. And sometimes with your decreases, I probably should have told you this sooner. If you're having trouble with the tension, I do a double wrap so I can keep it nice and tight. Because that's where a lot of times you end up with some holes in your amigurumi is when you're doing the decreases. But when you're just starting out, I really think you should just kind of play with the feeling and getting used to making the movements of the crochet hook. Um, a lot of this stuff comes naturally as you progress. All right, and decrease, single crochet. Ba, 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 ba. All right, so now we have this like shape, a little like triangle, reverse triangle shape. So we are going to stuff it. I like to take my hook out, pull a long string so I don't lose any stitches, and then stuff it before I close it up. Okay, it's not going to take anywhere near as much stuffing as I grabbed. I just grab a bunch so I don't have to grab more, and you work it in with your fingers. You don't want to overstuff so that you're stretching your stitches. If you stuff it too much, the stitches stretch out and your stuffing starts to show. You don't want to do that. Um, and you want to make sure you don't understuff so that it's like um, it won't hold its shape. You need enough to hold its shape, but not so much that you distort your stitches. And sometimes it's best to just use your fingers. There's a lot of bags of the polyfiberfill will have a stuffing tool, which is really good for like little itty bitty skinny arms or something like that. Okay, now we're on to our last round of the base of our little cactus. We'll use the stitch marker, and what we're going to do is just decrease 6 times around in the back loops. So remember the back loops. This is a front loop. This is a back loop. And that's so, see how it twisted here? We're going to get a twist on the bottom to make it flat so that you don't have to have it in a pot if you don't want to. I just think the pot makes it so much cuter. Okay, so back loops, decrease. Okay, that's 1. Do it again. Okay, again. That's 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 more times. Okay. Pull out your thing. Now we're going to fasten off. So get your scissors and cut about 6 to 8 inches. And now you're done with your beige yarn. You can put it off into your project bag. You won't need it anymore for this project. We're going to fasten off. Means we're going into the next stitch. We're going to go under both, grab a piece, and then pull through our hook. That's called a slip stitch. And now it's fastened off. So then the next thing you're going to do is thread your tail onto a large eye needle. And that's why you want it to be a large eye needle, because it's hard to get the yarn in there. Now we're going to weave through this last row of stitches, and pull that up tight to close the bottom of it. And then you're just going to push the needle back and forth a couple of times. This is on the bottom. It doesn't need to be perfect at all. Okay. And then pop that through. Pull. There you go. That's all done. Now you can shape it up and stick it in your pot. I know it doesn't go down very far. The pot really is just to hold it. If you get a bigger pot, you could drop that in a little further, but this is the base of our cactus. So we're moving along. Now we're going to move on to the flower. I know that if you have the printed pattern, it has the body next, but I'm going to go ahead and have you do the flower now for sewing purposes. So it'll be easier to sew the flower on if we go ahead and create it now. So pick your flower color. It could be the hot pink that you're using to make the cheeks. It could be purple. It could be blue. It could be red. So you're making a Christmas cactus. It's just scrap yarn. You don't need to go out and buy a ton of colors. Just use what you have, um, or buy colors that you like and make it however you like. So I have this kind of an aqua color. I think is fun. We're going to make our slip knot. I wrap around my fingers, I cross it at the top, then it goes behind where I crossed it and makes this, and then I pull that up to make a slip knot. And then I'm going to put my hook in, and I'm not going to worry about pulling that too tight. In this one, we're going to learn how to use the front loops only and to double crochet. So you'll learn a new stitch and how to do it in the front loops. So first things first, we need to chain 2, 1, 2. Okay, and now remember, the front has the V's, the back has the bump right there. 3, or not 3, 6 single crochet in that, the second bump from the hook. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I always count because this first round is basically how you make sure you're doing everything right. So you want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to pull this up, close the center hole. All right, and now we are going to increase in each stitch around. We can go ahead and use our stitch marker if that's easier. So remember, an increase is 2 single crochet in each stitch. So 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, and 6, 2. Okay, now we're going to do something just because this works really well with the flower shape we're going to make. So we want this to be a solid circle. So we're going to slip stitch. If you remember, we did the slip stitch to fasten off. So you go through both loops, pull the yarn through, and then pull it all the way through. Okay. And now you have a solid circle. So now we're going to go to round 3. And before we were working in the back loops, which are here, now we're going to work in the front loops, and that'll make it kind of curve forward. And this is going to be an interesting, we're going to work together to do this. Now we're going to do a double crochet. So you're going to wrap it around your hook first, then go in through the front loop, pull it around your hook, pull up a piece. So now you have 2, go over, pull through 2, over, pull through 2. Let's do that again in the same stitch. So around our hook, through, pull up a yarn, around the hook, pull through 2 loops, around, pull through 2 loops. Do it one more time. Do it one more time in the front loop. So it's a wrap, pull up, around, pull through 2, around, pull through 2. And that's the first petal. So then we're going to go to the next stitch, and in the front loop only, we're going to do a slip stitch. So we're going to take the yarn, pull it through that front loop, and then the one on our hook. That's that's sequence number 1, and we're going to keep doing this all the way around. So in the next stitch, we're going to double crochet 3 times. So around, in, pull up, around, pull through 2, around, pull through them all, around, through, pull up, around, pull through 2, pull through them all, around, through, pull up, around, pull 2, pull them all. Okay, and you see how that's kind of making petals. Next stitch, go through just the front loops, grab it, pull it, and pull through them both because it's a slip stitch. Okay, let's do that again. 3 double crochet. I'm not going to give the full instructions this time. We're just going to do 3 double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the next stitch. Okay, now let's do it again. 3 double crochet, slip stitch in the next stitch. So you see how we're getting these nice cute little petals here? Just kind of curl up. Okay, so let's do that sequence 2 more times. 3 double crochet. Nope. If the yarn splits, pull out and do it again. Try to remember to do it in your front loops only. And that's to get this flower to kind of curl. Okay, now slip stitch. All right, we've got 2 stitches left, 3 single crochet, and then slip stitch in here, okay? 3 double crochet. Okay, and then do a slip stitch. And this is basically us fastening it off. So we're going to slip stitch. May hit 2. I hit both that time. There we go. Slip, stitch, cut our yarn. And again, about 6 to 8 inches. What we're going to do is tie this inside. We're going to pull these threads through the top of our cactus and tie them off inside. Okay, now just pull it all the way through. Okay. So now you have your flower. Yay, flower. And I'm going to set him over there on the pot. So now you can set aside your blue yarn and we can move on to the body of our cactus. And during this part, we're going to do the facial features and put on our little cheeks. We're going to attach our flower. We're going to stuff it all together and then sew it to our base. So this is, you're almost done. I know it seems intimidating, but we're almost finished. So you can take a break here or we can just keep going. Okay, so we've learned enough of the basics that I don't have to walk through every single step on the body. We'll still go slowly, but follow along with the pattern. You should be able to do a single crochet by now. We've done a bajillion of them. I'm exaggerating. We're going to do our slip knot, wrap around, take it behind the cross, and then pull it up. Boom. And that's the last slip knot you have to make for this project. Pull your yarn up, chain 2, 6 single crochet in the second chain from hook. Don't forget to do it in the bumpy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yay, we did it. All right. We are going to add in our stitch marker, move on to round 2, which is increase in each stitch around. So if we remember that increases is 2 stitches. So 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, and stop it. 6, 2. Feel free to yell at your uncooperative yarn however you like. It's fine. Pull that hole up, make sure it's nice and closed. Let's move on to round 3, which is a single crochet increase 6 times. A single crochet increase. Repeat around 5 more times. That completes round 3. Now we're moving on to round 4, which is a single crochet increase, single crochet 6 times. So let's do the first 1 or 2 sets together. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, and then repeat that 5 more times. So single crochet, increase, single crochet. Okay, do it 4 more times on your own. Okay, we have just finished round 4, so we're going to move on to round 5, which is 3 single crochet, increase 6 times. So we're going to do 3 single crochet, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to increase, boom, boom, and now we're going to repeat that 5 more times. So that just finished round 5. Move your stitch marker. We're going to go to round 6, just 2 single crochet, increase, 2 single crochet 6 times. So we're going to do 2 single crochet, 1, 2, and then we're going to increase, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet. Okay, and then we're going to repeat that around 5 more times. So 2 single crochet, 1, 2, and then increase, then 2 single crochet. Okay, do it 4 more times on your own and we'll meet back here. That was the end of round 6. So we're going to do our last increase round, which is round 7. It is 5 single crochet, increase 6 times. So you're going to do 5 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. You're going to increase, and you're going to repeat that sequence around 5 more times. So let's do it again together. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we're going to increase. Okay, now just do that 4 more times on your own. That's the end of round 7. So now for rounds 8 through 15, that's 8 rows of single crochet. And that's going to give it that ball shape, which is what we want because it's like a ball cactus. So we need to do 8 rows of single crochet. Now a trick with this is take your stitch marker to the back. When you get to the next one, bring it forward so you can count. I will do this single crochet row with you, show you what I mean by the stitch marker so you can count, and then we'll do the rest of them on our own. And we'll come back here to decrease and then sew on our face and our cheeks and our flower, and then stuff it and sew it to the base. So there's just a little bit more to this. You guys will be all done. I know it takes a minute to get all the way around this part. Sorry. Come on. Okay, so we've done 1 round single crochet. So instead of pulling this out, what I'm going to do is just bring it forward and then start going into my next round. So when you get back here, you take that back and then you know you have 1, 2. So that's how I do this. And I just go back and forth with this as a way to count. But you need to do 7 more rows of single crochet. We'll meet back here when you get those finished, okay? So we are finishing up round 15 after our 8 rows of single crochet. Just going to get these last few stitches done. As you can see, I've got my stitch marker going back and forth so I can see how many rounds I've done. We flip that up and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we've finished all 8 rows. Remove the stitch marker and then put it back in. We're going to move on to round 16, which is decrease 5 single crochets 6 times. So here we go. We're going to decrease, pull up 1, and then in the next stitch, pull up another, wrap over, pull through both. That's your decrease. And now we're going to do 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's do it again. Decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You'll want to continue doing this 4 more times, and at the end of round 16, you'll have 36 stitches. We've just finished round 16. We're going to move on to round 17. You can see it's a nice little ball shape. We're enjoying that. It's going to be just a little ball cactus. We've got 2 more rounds left to do, and then we will be done. It is a little bit bigger than our current base, but it'll pull up close when we do the finalizing stitches. So let's start with round 17. We're going to decrease, pull up 1, and then in the next pull up 1, wrap over, pull through both, and then we're going to do 4 single crochet. Okay, now let's do it again. I'm going to decrease, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now repeat that around 4 more times, and at the end of this round, you'll have 30 stitches. Okay, so we've just finished round 17. We have 1 more round to go, and we will be done with this part of the cactus. So move your stitch marker, and you're going to decrease, and then you're going to do 3 single crochet, 1, 2, and 3, and that's the first sequence. Do it again, decrease, 3 single crochet, 1, 2, and 3, and now repeat that around 4 more times, and we'll meet back here at the stitch marker to fasten off. So now we're done with all the crocheting. Remove your stitch marker. We're gonna get the scissors, and then we're going to cut off. In this situation, we usually do about 18 inches to 24 inches, so you have enough to sew on. You don't want to run out of the yarn when you're sewing, so I always do a little extra. And we're gonna fasten off by doing a slip stitch. Pull, and then pull through, and then pull that long tail all the way through. And you have completed all the crochet work for this project. Now all we have left to do is put it together. Yay, putting it together. That part takes a little bit. Now the seam where you fastened off should be the back of your little creature, your cactus. We want to have that in the back. It just helps with ease of sewing and everything, and placing things in the right location. So we're going to attach the flower first. It's a pretty simple process. And eyeball or lay down, figure out where you would like your cactus or your flower, and put in a couple spots till you make sure you have it in the right one where you like it. Now go through the inside and you're going to grab your crochet hook, and you have the two tails, one from when you started the project and then one from when you finished this piece. You're just going to pull those through. And I go off screen here. I do apologize for that. There we go. I pull the strings through with your crochet hook. That's the first one's done. Check your placement before you pull in the second one. Pull that through. And then check your placement because you don't want to tie it in a knot and then have to remove it. So then you flip it inside out and you take those two little tails and you tie them fairly tightly because you want it to not move around a bit. So tie it tight, but not so tight that it moves your creature around. And then snip off your tails. So now we're going to add the features, and I'm going to use crochet thread. I'm going up on the inside so that there's a tail inside the work so that I can tie it off. We're doing the mouth first, which is about 4 rows up from the edge. Leave that tail because you'll want that so you can sew it off at the end. And I'm making an angry one. You can make a cute one. There's a bunch of kawaii faces out there, but I wanted an angry cactus. So I'm going about 4 stitches over and taking it back down, and that gives us our straight mouth. So there you go. That's a straight mouth. Super simple. Here, I'm going to show you how to make it a happy mouth. You just make a curve down about a stitch and then come back up with your needle and secure that little curve in place. So see how I come up underneath and then I pull it down and then you have a smiley face. But this isn't what we're doing, so I'm going to undo that just for display purposes. That's why we did it. So now we're going to move on to the eyes. So I'm going to do 1 stitch over and 1 stitch up from the mouth. And that's where I'm going to start working on the eye. So it's 1 stitch over, 1 stitch up. I'm going to pull that up, and then I'm going to make a diagonal by going up 3 stitches and over 3 stitches for a decent slope. So 1, 2, and then 3. I'm going to put that in. And that gives us the top of the eye. And now I'm going to come back up at the midway point, about a stitch behind, so that I can make these little triangles for these eyes. So I'm going to come back up, and I'm going to go back to the top one first. And it helps if you have a really sharp needle so you can not have to rely on the locations. Then go back up through that center point again. And take it back down through the beginning. And there you have your little angry eye. So then you need another eye, and you want them to be as close as possible to being the same thing. So go over to the other side of the mouth, come up 1 stitch up from the edge of the mouth. And then we're going to do the 3 slope again. So up 3 and over 3. Try to make sure they're in alignment because faces give you the most personality of your project. So pull that through, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find the midway point, which is about a stitch down, and come up. We're going to put it in that side and then come back up through that midway point and then do the bottom part of the eye. And then we have these fun little triangular eyes. Turn it inside out and take the end that you left and the other side, and you want to tie this in a square knot, just like tying your shoes. Just tie it in a little knot, and it doesn't need to be super tight. It just needs to be in there so that it doesn't come apart. Now you've finished the face. Snip off your edges if you want. If you don't want to, you can leave them in. They'll get hidden by the stuffing. So now you want to grab your hot pink yarn. You only need about a foot of this, not even that much, but I like to have a little extra to work with. You're going to thread this back onto your needle. And this is just a super quick little way to give it a little bit of extra personality. So flip it back right side out so you can make your little cheeks. So what I like to do is kind of play around with the location and put the needle in from the front the first time to just kind of get an idea of where I want that cheek to be. So this one I am putting right beside the eye. One stitch over from the eye, right around at the bottom of that eye. And then I go ahead and just pull the tail out so I have it there. And then it is just one stitch across. It is just a little straight stitch. And I'm doubling it. I'm doing it twice to make sure it really shows up. So you want to make sure your features do show. That's what gives you the personality of your cactus. And then you just need to go over to the other side and do the exact same thing. Sometimes it helps to count a couple of stitches. Make sure you're doing the exact same thing. So then come up on the other side and do the one stitch over straight stitch. And do it twice so that you have a little bit more impact. Pull it toward the inside. There we go. We're going to flip it and we're going to tie these off. Now, you want the knot tight, but if you pull it too tight, you're going to distort the shape of your cactus. So you don't want to pull it super tight, but you want to make sure that it's nice and secure and tight in there. And then I snip them off because I don't like tails everywhere, but you don't have to. They can just go in with the stuffing. So our next step is to grab the stuffing. So let's grab the stuffing and we will get it stuffed and then attached. It looks a little big here. Like we're going to show he looks like he's too big, but he's not. That row is only 24 stitches and this row is, the outside of this is 36 stitches and then 24 stitches is the second row in, and that's where we're going to do a 1-to-1 to attach it. So now it's time to grab your stuffing and just get a big handful and start stuffing it in there. And then I like to go in through the center and make sure I'm really shaping it. So I start with this, I make a hole in the center and push all the stuffing out to the side to really give it that shape that I want. And then I manipulate it quite a bit. You can work with it to get it the shape that you want. Your biggest trick with stuffing is you don't want to overstuff it so that there's holes, but you don't want to understuff it and make it become floppy. So it really is just keep going until you feel like you're about at the right state, and then you can add more later if you feel it's necessary. So that second row in on this base is 24 stitches, and that's what we're going to want to do. So we're going to thread the needle with the tail. And I'm lining up the back of the cactus with the back of the base. So if you made the base, you'll see there's just that little indent where the back of it was. Let's go there. Now we're going to go down in a stitch and go up a stitch. So you're going to just kind of whip stitch this on, and we're going to go all the way around. Make sure you go through the base and then through the cactus. And we're going to do that all the way around, making sure we do it in round 9 of the base, which is about 2 rows in from where we have those back loops only. So just keep going around and we'll get it all stuffed or stitched together. You can watch with me. It's a slow and tedious process, but it is necessary. So now we're almost all the way around and we're checking, and you see how you have the little base where it shows the edge. And now we're going to see, do we need more stuffing? And the answer is yes, we need more stuffing, but you do this before you close everything, so it should be fine. Just put some up in there. Make sure you move it around so you don't have a lopsided situation. But this is a good time to add stuffing if it's necessary. It won't always be necessary. It is for me, but it isn't. It may not be for you. So it is just everybody does their own thing, and we kind of see what works. So we continue doing the stuffing. We shape it with our hands and we squish it around because it's kind of fun to squish things, really and truly. And we're going to finish stitching this up. Now, if you've ever sewn before, you know that you reinforce seams by going back over the stitches at the edges. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to go around, do these stitches, and go a little bit forward and then a little bit backward, and you should have it nice and secure. Now, once you've got it sewn all the way around and you've got it reinforced, you've got to get rid of that tail. So what I like to do is push it through and pull it out another side, and then I go back in. So there is a nice long tail of yarn inside. So there's not less likelihood of unraveling. So I just keep pushing it back and forth and make sure that there's no lines, but I don't pull it so tight that I cause a problem. And then I snip it, and that little piece will just be hidden in there. And then you can put it in your base, and you've finished. He's super cute. If you want it to stay in the base, you can use some glue here, but you don't have to if you want to be able to take it out of the base, if you want him to live without his plants. But there you go. There's your little cactus. Thanks for crocheting with me. Bye.